going on with that PPP? You done a lot of talking, not a lot to see. Up in the millions like 2.3, but Jeff got it all, getting off scot-free. Try to talk tips like we talking about stock, but you're talking about men printed on called stock. When you open your mouth, I take it with a grain of salt, cause the market's down and you're a clown, it's all your fault. You ruin the hobby I love with your bullshit. Jeff Wilson, Jeff Wilson. You ruin the hobby I love with your bullshit. Jeff Wilson, Jeff Wilson. Did you dip, Jeff? I think you dipped, Jeff. What you talking about? I don't think you dipped yet. Willie's doing shady shit like the GOBs, like his whole failed thing with them NFTs, taking money from the people to pay. Most of them are broke, but that's okay, he's getting money. Even better, tax-free, loving all the stimulus from PPP. You ruin the hobby I love with your bullshit. Jeff Wilson, Jeff Wilson. You ruin the hobby I love with your bullshit. Jeff Wilson, Jeff Wilson. You ruin the hobby I love with your bullshit. Jeff Wilson, Jeff Wilson. You ruin the hobby I love with your bullshit.
B-side on the beat.
What's going on with that PPP? You done a lot of talking, not a lot to see. Up in the millions like 2.3, but Jeff got it all, getting off scot-free. Try to talk tips like we talking about stock, but you're talking about men printed on called stock. When you open your mouth, I take it with a grain of salt, cause the market's down and you're a clown, it's all your fault. You ruin the hobby I love with your bullshit. Jeff Wilson, Jeff Wilson. You ruin the hobby I love with your bullshit. Jeff Wilson, Jeff Wilson. Did you dip, Jeff? I think you dipped, Jeff. What you talking about? I don't think you dipped yet. Willie's doing shady shit like the GOBs, like his whole failed thing with them NFTs, taking money from the people to pay. Most of them are broke, but that's okay, he's getting money. Even better, tax-free, loving all the stimulus from PPP. You ruin the hobby I love with your bullshit. Jeff Wilson, Jeff Wilson. You ruin the hobby I love with your bullshit. Jeff Wilson, Jeff Wilson. You ruin the hobby I love with your bullshit. Jeff Wilson, Jeff Wilson. You ruin the hobby I love with your bullshit.
What is going on, everybody? Hopefully, guys are doing well out there. That is right. We are back again here on Sports Card Radio, the number one most documented, most talked about, the longest history in the hobby, dating back to 2008. We're showing our age over here, and we're showing out for the faithful here in the chat, showing up on a Thursday night here on Sports Card Radio. We've got the super producer back, earning that equity in Sports Card Radio, which just goes up day by day by day, hour by hour. The value of Sports Card Radio is going up faster than every trading card Jeff Wilson told you to buy during the pandemic. He told you to buy, and now he can't even get himself to recommend buying sports cards when they are down. And we're over here pounding the table that it's time to start buying some of these trading cards. Ryan's going to be bidding on some auctions. Maybe that LeBron James 3500 might be kind of interesting. A little Ted Williams. Nothing wrong with that. We've got the Thursday night golden auctions ending tonight. Ryan's got a couple of items for sale as well. He's trying to make a little bit of money while we hang out with the faithful here on Sports Card Radio. Ryan, we've got group breaks potentially being illegal, which we talked about over a decade ago here on the channel. We got Pac-Man busting the packs with that's not content. And we got a lot more to talk about. Ryan, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much. Chat, I can see, is very, very fired up. Got a lot of things happening in the sports card world once again, seems like week after week, either a reoccurring topic or some kind of breaking news story happens across the sports card landscape. Did you see this article? Did you happen to see this article from ESPN about box breaks? Did you happen to catch this at all?
When you showed it to me about 3 hours ago is when I did see it. Doesn't surprise me one bit. Since this is something that we talked about here on the channel before the YouTube channel really blew up. It was something we discussed at length on our podcast. The fact that group breaking operates in at best, a gray area when it comes to legalities. And at worst, it's completely illegal. And so if you're relying on it to feed your family, if you're relying it on to pay your employees, to build a business, I think it's pretty foolish. And I think that has played out. That was, how many years ago was that we had that show ripping on? I remember recording that. That was a long time ago.
10 years ago.
10 years ago. A lot has changed in my life over the past 10 years. And man, it's crazy. Looks like we haven't paid our photo bucket account. But you know, a lot has changed over the past 10 years. But what hasn't changed is over here at Sports Card Radio, we've been bringing you this news, views, and the gossip when it comes to group breaks. ESPN is just picking it up now. The hobby is just waking up to it now. A lot of people are just starting to talk about it now. But those of you that have been fans of the channel for any length of time, certainly longer than when Jeff Wilson took out his second PPP loan, you know that we've been talking about this. So we're definitely going to be talking about that on today's show. Controversial rise and uncertain future of box breaks.
Yeah, I think it was an interesting article. It's fairly lengthy. If anybody, you know, I don't know if anybody reads all this stuff anymore. It's fairly lengthy. I'll give you a brief summary right here exclusively on Sports Card Radio. We won't do a full reading. I'll spare people that. I think that the paragraphs, first of all, the article really was kind of a feature piece on Leighton Sports Cards. They followed him around his shop. We found out some details about, you know, how many employees Leighton has, his total sales, kind of what he's got going on there. It was mostly a piece about Leighton Sports Cards and the kind of the rise of group breaking. It did dip into the legality of sports card group breaks. We had quotes from several different people. Eric Whiteback, the collectibles guru on Twitter and probably Instagram as well. He says there are some breaks that you see, they resemble a casino. And I think we've all seen those, the little duck races, the little wheel spins. I'll get into further about kind of razzes and raffles that were kind of more prevalent about 10 years ago. Lawyer Paul Lesko has a quote in the ESPN article. Paul Lesko on Twitter, he often provides commentary on all the legal issues in the hobby. He says, quote, breaks bring a lot of excitement for cards, but still, technically, they fall under being illegal forms of gambling. I wish I could be proven wrong, unquote, from Paul Lesko there. So a lawyer chiming in, basically saying that group breaks are illegal. We've seen in the past, longtime listeners of Sports Card Radio might remember this show from 10 years ago, ripping on razzers. This was our 5-year anniversary. This is back in 2013. Where we basically undressed several group breakers, many of them whom are not around anymore, but some that are, that were conducting clear illegal activity. Look, I think we could talk about the gray area of box breaks. Is it gambling? Is it not? Is it equivalent to betting on sports? Is it not? I think each state could probably wrestle with those as they're determining the laws for their state if they ever do tackle the idea of regulating sports cards. But what is clearly illegal in every state is running just a raffle for something, and you don't have a charity associated with it. You haven't filled out the proper paperwork. How do I know this? How do I know that raffles are illegal? And look, some of the top group breakers, even today, conducted illegal activity. Firehand 17. UFC 5, razzle dazzle time. Totally certified basketball, razzle dazzle time. This is him raffling off spots in group breaks, which is not legal. Clouts and Chara, big, huge shop up in Canada. Well known in the early days of group breaking to be running illegal raffles. How do I know that raffles are illegal? Well, one of the few people that have ever been charged with running an illegal raffle on Facebook is well connected in the sports card world. Ronnie Marion, who used to run the Scammers Expose Facebook group that was sponsored by Nathan Burns of Grand Slam Collectibles. That was one of their admins, was none other than you Dip Daniel, Chris Gilmore.
You do?
Vintage Breaks. So what did Ronnie Marion do? Was he trying to raffle sports cards? No. He sold $10 tickets to enter a drawing for his 2013 Purple Dodge Challenger. And I apologize to you guys who weren't around a few years ago and didn't get to see all the funny memes that people made of Ron Marion's Dodge Challenger that he tried to raffle, guys. I mean, we missed some incredible content. We should have been doing videos a couple years. I mean, look at this. Absolutely incredible content. He was freaking charged, guys. Here it is right here. In North Dakota for running a Facebook raffle. And frankly, this was in July 2021. Frankly, after this happened, you really don't see sports card raffles except on the dark corners of the internet. But I think it's interesting to note, now that these guys are starting to get publicity, Firehand had a quote in here. Firehand built his business in part because of illegal activity. He conducted illegal online raffles. Clouts and Chara. All these other guys on here. There's our boy Cardfather X. Most of these guys aren't around anymore. And so we can shift the topic to now today. We know that raffles are illegal. This dork tried to effing raffle his Dodge Challenger on Facebook, and he got arrested.
He got arrested.
And he ran the Scammers Exposed Facebook group that was sponsored by Nathan Burns of Grand Slam Collectibles, who's connected to Heroes of Sport. And the Scammers Exposed Facebook group, one of their admins was Chris Yadip Daniel from Vintage Breaks. It's amazing how all these guys are like interconnected. It's absolutely freaking amazing. So we know that raffles are illegal. That's why you don't see them anymore. But are breaks illegal? Are group breaks illegal? We had Eric Whiteback say, hey, this looks like a casino over here. Sometimes what's going on. The winner is, I mean, when do you go to Walmart? When do you go to Walmart or Target or the liquor store and you have to win your bottle of liquor, or if you have to join a raffle, or you have to buy spots to maybe win something? What we see over here is gambling. And other people in the hobby are picking up on it. One of the largest stores in maybe one of the largest sports card store in the United States, Burbank Sports Cards in the world, basically called all of you group breakers. I don't know if you guys saw this on Instagram 7 days ago. He called all you guys who do group breaks basically probably criminals. He doesn't want the hobby focused on fractionalized gambling. That's what this group breaking is. It's just gambling. It's just a non-regulated legal form of gambling. Burbank Sports knows it. Paul Lesko, the lawyer, knows it. Eric Whiteback knows it. I bet if we took a poll in the chat, is group breaking gambling? Yes or no? Most of us have gambled before. Most of us have bet on sports. Most of us have played fantasy sports. The World Series of Poker is going on right now in Las Vegas. We know what gambling is, what it feels like, versus a regular transaction in your life when you're spending your money. Sports cards and buying into these breaks where you have no idea what you're going to get. You have no idea what team you're going to get. The checklist for the product hasn't even come out yet. Panini doesn't put odds on the back of their packs, so you have no idea literally what's inside. And you have these group breakers like Leighton Sports Cards, like Firehand Cards, who essentially act as casino operators. They act as MGM Grand. They act as Caesars. They think they're doing no wrong, but they're essentially running what could be, very well could be, an illegal gambling operation. Some of these cats, 10 years ago, built their business on fraudulent and illegal activity. Firehand Cards, Clouts and Chara, the Blowout Cards guys in here. They were all doing illegal raffles, really up until 2021 when their boy, Ronnie Marion, tried to raffle off his Dodge Challenger.
Bring up the Jordan one with the crying emoji on the tires or whatever.
Wheels. He just, I mean, why weren't we making video? If we were making videos when this happened, I mean, this would have been an 8-part special. What do you think about the, you know, kind of just where are we at with box breaking? I should also mention within the article, Leighton Sports Card says he does 20 million in revenue. Woo! Sorry, my whatnot distracted me there. Leighton Sports Cards does 20 million.
Sarah Rips come on.
I
let out a little hoot there that either Sarah Rips or what's the other girl? She Breaks. Did they come on and go?
I would have let out a little more if Sarah Rips or She Breaks came on. Leighton Sports Cards does 20 million in revenue, has 31 employees. Leighton Sports Cards has the Heroes of Sport connection. Speaking about a guy who built his business on the back of fraud. Leighton Sports Cards knew Heroes of Sport was shady and decided, along with 3 other breakers, Cardsmith Breaks, Grand Slam Collectibles, Blowout Cards, and Leighton, they were the only 4 suckers who decided to open Heroes of Sport, which was littered with trimmed sports cards. Littered with it. And this was years after Will Jamett came out with his first repack product, where he was packing out the product after it had come out. After it had come out, Will Jamett of Heroes of Sport announced there were hot boxes in the product. Could you imagine if Topps or Panini did that? If they were packing out something after it had released? If they announced something after it had already come out to spur sales? Leighton Sports Cards decided to get in bed with this guy after it was well known this guy was shady. So these breakers are acting their business is in a real gray area. Real gray area. There's nobody that's going to come on here and say what they're doing is 100% legal and would take that to the bank. If I were Leighton, I never would have spoken to ESPN. This is how you get the attention of a lawmaker, of somebody who could really impact your life, is they go on to ESPN, they start seeing an article where you're bragging about making $20 million, and suddenly your life could change virtually overnight. What do you think about where we are with breaking?
We're clearly at the top, and we may have already, kind of rolled over and we're just back testing to the top, and it's going to keep coming down with Panini, where they're at from a financial position, where they're at with a company position. clearly things are starting to regress when it comes to breaking. I think the clear indication we're at the top is when these guys get in ESPN articles that are questioning the legality of the business, and they're telling you they do $20 million in sales. And we were talking a little bit. It's like, okay, you could do 20 million in sales. Well, after you pay all your 30 employees and your rent and everything, you net out 10%, maybe even after tax. I think he's in Florida, so his taxes aren't crazy like they are out here. He nets out 2 million. What does he owe GTS? What does he owe Southern Hobby? Or Peach State or whoever he's with? Guarantee you, it's probably more than what he netted out. So a lot of these guys are just kind of running on credit. We've talked about that a lot here on the channel, but you look at the peak of anything. Okay. When the stock market peaks, it's when the tech, it's like when your neighbor like gets a Robinhood account and then runs it up to like 30K. That's the peak. When guys like Jeff Wilson come on YouTube, build up a huge following, tell you to buy trading cards, that's the peak. Okay. And the peak is the peak. We just witnessed the peak of breaking. When a breaker gets onto ESPN, talks about all their employees, talks about their sales, that's the peak. It's not going to get any bigger. It's over. Like it's over. And look, does it get regulated? Does, Washington's not going to do anything for a year and a half. We don't have to get into a political discussion, but they did their last act like a month or two ago. When they passed the debt ceiling and they pushed it all the way off into the next election, that showed you right there. They ain't doing crap for the next year and a half. Okay. They just cleared the deck so they can all go campaign and raise money. Fine. No big deal. Are the states going to get in here and actually regulate this and crack down?
It might be, it may not be, it might just be enforcement of the gambling laws that are already on the books. Now, I didn't want to bore people. I did go through some states that, and look at the gambling laws. Look, there are some states, I don't want to scare people out there, whereas actually buying into these breaks, you're probably committing a crime. Probably. Not only just being the casino operator, like Leighton, like Firehand, like these guys. That's definitely a gray area, what they're doing. But I saw some very conservative states where just gambling on anything, and it wasn't specific to horse betting, to cards, to poker, to sports and fantasy. No, it was, hey, if you buy into anything that there's a chance, that's gambling, and that is a misdemeanor in some states. You can Google your own state gambling law and read how specific or how not it really is.
Sure.
So I think a lot of people are waiting for regulation. It could just be clarifying or enforcing the current laws already in the book. We saw the enforcement of a raffle law over here in North Dakota, very conservative state. Not a whole lot going on. They see a guy charging $10 a ticket to raffle off a purple Dodge Challenger. This is, I can't just. Here's our boy over here. Where's our boy? We got to show him. I know a lot more about this guy. I won't roast him, but holy Lord. So North Dakota over here, they see, very conservative state, not a lot going on. They take action. They filed charges on this guy. He got popped.
Well, there's already, and I mean, look, it's deja vu, 10 years down the line, 10 years, and I'm probably 20 pounds heavier. But look, when you look on the back of trading cards, you look on any box of trading cards, what's on the back? A no purchase necessary offer. And that stems from a lawsuit that the card companies essentially lost in a courtroom. And this applies to a lot of things. Anytime you see some kind of offer, some kind of raffle, or some type of contest, whether it's Coca-Cola running a contest or McDonald's or whoever, there's always kind of boilerplate stuff down the bottom. Like, people in Washington can't participate. People in this state, can only do this. And the no purchase necessary on each pack essentially applies to that. And it allows that the opening up a pack of trading cards is essentially a game of chance. And so what we've taken is something that already is a game of chance, and then we've gamified that into breaks. And so, and look, I think we talked about it too. This was 2 weeks ago. We talked about when eBay essentially just like cut off everybody. eBay cut off a lot of the group breakers. That to me is a sign. eBay doesn't why would eBay all of a sudden in 2023, after how long of I remember when we were a top affiliate of eBay, and I was sitting in Las Vegas at Caesar's Palace, and they had rented out that suite that looks out on the front of Caesar's Palace. Essentially out there's like a promenade and, the park, not really parking lot, but where you kind of pull into Caesar's Palace. Up on the top, there's a suite, and eBay had rented that out. And I got my way, I weaseled my way up into that. And I was talking to them about group breaking, because we could go in and look at our affiliate marketing thing, and we could see dude, we were making a ton of money referring traffic to these group breaks. And so I just asked them, I had eBay people up there, and I was talking to 3 or 4 of them. And I was like, what do you guys think about this? And they didn't really know. And they ended up getting back to me, and they kind of sent me eBay's policy. This was, I don't remember when this was. This was 10 years ago. You know what I mean? This was a long, long time ago. Why did eBay all of a sudden 3 weeks ago decide, wait, you have to be approved to be a breaker, and you're going to have to sign something. And, and then all of a sudden now we got an ESPN article. You know what I mean? This reeks of a lot of stuff we see in the mainstream media, where you see an article where, a source says this law is going to be passed, or this is going to be done, or this is going to be done. And then Nancy Pelosi buys Google stock, and then she buys Meta stock. And then sure enough, 3 weeks later, she passes a law that fucking makes these companies $10 billion or whatever. Spoiler alert, she bought, I think, Google and Amazon maybe a week or 2 ago. You'd have to go check. Wow. So, needless to say, those stocks are probably doing good. So it reminds me a little bit of that this is the prelude of something. There's just too many, we're getting too many, I don't know the term, I've been drinking. So, but we had eBay cut people off. We had this article in ESPN. We have Fanatics essentially taking over here in short order. Whether that's 12 months, 24 months, who cares? It's going to come soon enough. It feels ominous, in my opinion. And so if I was a group breaker, this is what I liked in this hobby, I would not be excited at this moment. And look, we probably said this 10 years ago, and here we are 10 years later saying the same thing, right? But I think we're finally getting to a tipping point when it comes to this type of thing. And look, Fanatics is looking to go public later this year. That is a legitimate event in this hobby. Fanatics actually going public is a legitimate event in this hobby. Okay. You have attorneys, you have analysts, you have short sellers, people that are betting against this company from succeeding, looking into things, looking into, how are most sports card products sold? And we'll see where Topps' revenue breaks out in the grand scheme of things. Fanatics is probably, generates a ton of revenue on other things, but, and this is a company, Fanatics is also a company that's trying to break into gambling. I think they have, in some states, they have a licensed product there. And so, if you're already a license holder of you're MGM, you're DraftKings, you're FanDuel or whatever, can you really be in group breaking as well? Can that be 8% of your revenue? And you not be concerned about that from a legality standpoint? And certainly Fanatics lawyers are looking into this thing too. So there's something going on behind the scenes here. When you have eBay cut everybody off, you've got ESPN running articles. Something is happening, and it probably won't be good. In terms of these types of things, the outcome probably won't be great. But we'll be here to cover it for you on the Sports Card Show program, because we don't give up about this stuff, because we don't break. I haven't opened up a pack, and I can't tell you the last time I opened up a pack of sports cards. You can get on Golden and get cards 30% off retail price. Whether or not that LeBron is, I don't know. But who's that? Derek Fisher, PSA 5,
Derek
$2,500.
Fisher.
Holy cow!
Oh wait, we have a battle tonight between Luka and Zion. Whose Mosaic PSA 10 is going to sell for more? Guys, right now, Ja's in the lead.
Okay, so we got Ja versus.
It's 22 for the same
PSA
card.
10.
PSA 10 Mosaic. I mean, these used to be worth triple digits, probably.
Whoa.
$22 for Zion, 28 for Ja. So, wow, people still believe more in the gun-toting thug from the mean streets of Memphis than they do Mariah Mills' lover boy, Zion Williamson. If you were a group breaker right now, besides maybe trying to win this D-Fish card, if you were a group breaker, what would you do? You've been playing, first of all, you've been playing in this gray area for freaking, a decade, right? Some of these guys, Firehand, Clouds Chara, all the guys who broke Heroes of Sport. You've been doing shady stuff to build your business in a area of business that is a very gray area, looked upon as gambling. Your guy Burbank Sports Cards over here, I mean, you guys should go listen to his rant over here. 7 days ago, he posted it. Fractionalized gambling. I mean, he just tees off on breakers, basically, in his own style and in his own way. What would you do if you were a group breaker? You just put your head down and you'd be like, hey, these guys have been wrong the whole time. My business has just gone up and up and up.
I mean, the thing is like, we've already seen the business itself has been turned on its head. We know this because a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, guys were getting in our Facebook DMs and talking about their select allocation just got dropped off and they only had to pay, $1,200 for the case, and it's selling for $13,000 on eBay or something. Those days are over. Okay. Guys like Michael Fruiton were buying $750,000 houses in Aurora, Colorado. And now he's having to work overtime to scrub the walls of his sports trading card shop. What would I do as a group breaker? Look, you've gotten this deep already. Okay. You've gotten in this deep already. So it really isn't for the current group breakers. It's really for the people that are breaking into this hobby. Look, this is not going to be sustainable in the long run. You're either going to have the platforms are going to start shutting you down like eBay. You're going to have Fanatics require you to break on certain places. They're going to just squeeze the margin out of these things. I mean, Webb and Yama is going to be pretty hot, but is anybody really going to make a lot of money on him? Like they did 15, 20 years ago when we were selling LeBron stuff. I mean, not 20 years ago, but 15 years ago. Like probably not. You know what I mean? Not in the short term. And so the margin's been shrunk out of this business. The opportunity and the platforms just continue to get worse and worse. The pricing continues to go up. The competition continues to go up. Any Joe Blow can have a whatnot account and be popping off. So no, and it's not a business I'd want to be in. Not a business I'd want anywhere close to being in. And I've said, we've reiterated this for the past 10 or 15 years here on the program, that this is not a good business. This is not sustainable. And so, and look, some of these guys, like what Leighton said, he had 20 million in sales and employees and this, that, and the other. And it's like, well, I seen him at the Tops conference. His was stainless steel, so I'd take a little shot there. He was the only one in the room with a nice watch. I will say that. Leighton did have a nice little stainless steel day date, retail, maybe 6,000 or 7,000.
I feel like if you're the biggest breaker, like, shouldn't you have a lot more than a nice watch?
He had Louis bag. He had a Louis bag too. I think that was probably like 3,000 or 4,000.
I think my only kind of saving grace for group breakers is like, well, if the biggest guy's only doing 20 million a year, this is still a teeny tiny business, and some lawmaker in a state that's not North Dakota is going to look at $20 million, and even if it's a $20 million scam or a $20 million illegal operation, that's kind of light work. If we're not talking about drugs, or if we're not talking about something blatantly obvious, I think you could see enforcement or regulation happen on the state level. I mean, you could literally, it'd be a great video for a content creator to literally go through each state and talk about how these breaks violate the rules, both on the operator side. So on if you're like a Backyard Breaks, if you're a Leighton, but also as a buyer, that it's actually illegal to, quote, gamble in some states, and that you could actually get hauled off, in theory, an over aggressive DA, an over aggressive politician, and somebody who doesn't like you. I don't know if somebody in North Dakota didn't like, Ron Marion over here and filed charges on his ass. But literally, you could see people buying into breaks, on the way, You take this all the way to the hilt. You could see literally people who buy into breaks getting charged with crimes, let alone the Backyard Breaks and the guys going on ESPN talking about how much money they've made, which I think is a huge mistake. Even though I actually don't think it's a big number that's going to raise a lot of red flags, but I would not, as advice, and the only advice I'd really give to group breakers is when ESPN calls or any of these media outlets and they ask about how much money you make, absolutely do not freaking tell them. Because you want to get more attention, you want to get more articles, you want to get, and like you said, when Fanatics IPOs, there's going to be a lot of attention on this industry. And they're going to be people who aren't involved in sports cards who are going to wonder, hey, why does Fanatics have this gambling site? Like there's this, Fanatics gambling. But the cards are not a part of it. When you're watching both, when you're participating in both, doesn't the cards feel more like straight gambling and straight pulling a slot machine than if you're betting on sports or betting on fantasy sports, where you might have some kind of inside information, or you might feel like you have a slight edge?
Yeah.
If you watch,
imagine that press release. It's like, okay, Fanatics goes IPO, and they have whatever X amount of valuation, and then they're making whatever, I don't know, $400 million a year, or just some number in terms of revenue. And then the press release comes across, Fanatics sports card business under pressure because DA and XYZ red state is coming after them, for, fostering, 100 million. Like if Leighton's doing 20, okay, what's the entire breaking business doing? 10 times that. So we're talking about a $200 million industry. And out here in California, $200 million, the state could drop that. Well, the state, like smaller states, $200 million business, you put that on your business card. And so all of a sudden you come after Fanatics saying, my citizens buy into these breaks on whatnot, and they get screwed. And you're a public company and you're worth $13 billion. We're coming after you. And look at them. They're doing these little random things and doing all this stuff we can't understand. It's like crypto. It's like it's like daily fantasy or anything like that. We don't really understand it, but we're going to regulate it. And we're going to, so Fanatics going public, the hobby going mainstream is like the worst. I think we even talked about this. This is like the lights getting switched on in a room of cockroaches. Like, you actually want the lights to stay off. If you're a cockroach, have the lights stay off. Be hidden in the corners of the internet, in the business world. Nobody bothers you. You make money. We're going to flip the lights on. Okay. And you guys are all going to have to scatter. Okay. Because again, if Leighton's doing 20 in a good year, and what is the whole industry combined doing from a breaking perspective? And now you just usher in the DA in Arkansas, the DA in North Dakota, South Dakota, Montana, anywhere where they're like, let me figure out a way I could bring in $1 million. They're going to take that shot. And with Fanatics going public, it's going to create even more scrutiny for this stock, because then you're going to have the short sellers come in too, because this stock's going to be way overvalued from a fundamental sales earnings perspective. It's just going to be super hot. It's going to be, maybe the second highest valued IPO of the year. And so you're going to have a lot of people like draw up arguments to bet against this. They're going to put in a big short position, and then they're going to start publishing articles of why this company is a fraud. And here you go. You type in, well, how is Fanatics a fraud? Well, a quarter of their business relies on these illegal raffles of these guys that, do 20 million in sales. Sounds great to me. Sounds like a great argument, and sounds like something that would get a lot of legs in the financial world. So, look, the lights coming on the hobby is not good. It's usually not a good thing for the people that are operating in the gray areas of the hobby. And what we know about group breaking is it's certainly in a gray area when it comes to anything.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting that a lot of this is happening now, like you said, with the eBay thing. What was it, 2 weeks ago, that they basically kicked all their breakers off their platform, and they basically kind of anointed a select few that's going to be able to break on their platform. A week later, you had Fanatics drawing up agreements with hobby shop owners that you have to do X, Y, and Z. You have prominent shop owners like Burbank Sports Cards in the same week calling breakers fractionalized gambling, basically just calling you guys criminals, I think, essentially, in a nice way, in a Fanatic shirt too. I love how he's trolling you guys and wearing a Fanatic shirt in this video. It's a fantastic video. It's interesting. A lot of this is coming to a head. I think it could just, again, great content video would just be going state by state and just looking at how the gambling laws already on the books, just enforcement of the laws already could put potentially some of these group breakers in jeopardy. And when you start going on ESPN and bragging about the money you've made in a gray area, it's got to be about the stupidest thing you can do. It's right up there with Leighton Sports Cards telling ESPN how much money he's made is right up there with breaking with heroes of sport.
Stupid.
At least in this community, in this hobby, he can get away with both. But an untrained person, a lawmaker, somebody reading this, somebody over in North Dakota who's willing to freaking file charges against a guy who's broke as hell trying to raffle his Dodge Charger.
Yeah.
Challenger, excuse me.
Like, if he lived in California, they wouldn't care. It's like, we got 10 other things we got to deal with. But it's like
he could steal the Dodge Challenger and nobody would care.
It'd be legal. Like they'd be like they would charge the guy that owned it. You know what I mean? And like, the bank would have to give it to him. Especially if he wasn't white. I think the light getting shined on this industry is not going to be a good thing. Like, it's not going to be a good thing. And we talk. I mean, it's like deja vu. This is the exact same stuff we talked about 10 years ago. Was like exactly like this. Like, guys, this is all in a super gray area from a legal perspective. You guys don't want this hobby to blow up. Like, if it blows up, it just blows up everything that you got going on. And here we are. Look, things take a while to play out. It is what it is. But yeah, I think it's a terrible idea when ESPN comes and knocks on your door to tell them 20 million in sales, because they don't understand that Leighton Sports Cards probably netting at best $1 million, and he owes GTS 1.5 million. So he actually has negative equity. He has a negative book value on his business. But because he constantly can continue to run on the hamster wheel, it keeps rolling. And then maybe he has some inventory left over at this point in his career. Probably has a little bit of inventory that he could survive on for 6 months or whatever. But this is a guy where if group breaking was deemed illegal, he would be delivering pizza in 6 months again. Like he would be back to being a pizza delivery boy in 6 months after his inventory rolled off, after he fired off all his employees, after he sold his stainless steel Datejust. He'd be back to just a regular Joe, and that's one of the biggest breakers in the industry, let alone all these other guys. And so,
well, we can go back 10 years ago and look at the list, and these guys aren't around.
These guys are
Seymour
gone.
Breaks, Cards Elite, Neymar, Trade by Sell, Card Father X, MC Box Breaks, Buzz Breaks, Box Breaking Buzz, Hobby Breaks, Cab Sports, Dan Cards. I mean, these were
like big breakers back then. Like, I remember when this story went up, like this was before Twitter was like even kind of big, or like people even used it. And my Twitter was just, like it was a instant, like every 5 seconds there was a notification coming in, like, oh, Sports Card Radio's being a little peewad or whatever, So, no, I mean, we've been doing this a long time. We've been, telegraphing this. These are your hobby heroes. These are the guys that the hobby posted up there. They started raffling their Dodge Challengers. And, these aggressive DAs are going to come after it. And then now you've got the number one company that's going to control the entire market. It's going to control everything from the basketball to the baseball to the football license. And they're going to go public. And, and then I think the biggest clue, though, is eBay. Like, why the heck would eBay give a damn? All of a sudden, after all this time, eBay's all of a sudden like, oh, wait, no, you've got to sign and be approved from a breaker. And we ain't going to approve that many people. Like, why after all that time, you all of a sudden in 2023, in like the springtime of 2023, all of a sudden gain a conscience and be like, oh, wait a second. We need to start regulating this on our own site. It's like, come on, eBay's like a fourth tier e-commerce site at this point. So it's like, yeah, I think we've got more things coming.
How's our battle between Ja and Zion? Zion stuck at 22. Ja's at 28. Can you imagine that there were people? These probably came out when it was like $50 a card to grade. So there were people who probably paid $50 or more to just grade these cards. I mean, the money lost in break specifically, chasing after Zion and Ja cards. Then you guys decided to make PSA rich, and maybe a couple other grading companies a couple dollars, but mostly you decided to make PSA rich. So not only did you waste your money buying into these spots, then you sent the cards in to be evaluated by some third party. They slap an 8, 9, or 10 on there. You could have an 8, 9, or 10 on this card, and nobody would freaking know the difference, to be perfectly honest. And now these cards are worth $28. So we have one thing that's facing these group breakers, and that wasn't really touched on in this article, is the fact that somebody like Leighton Sports Cards has actually never seen a down sports card market. This dude came along and most of these guys, not just Leighton, but most of these kind of guys, have only been around in the last 10 years. Guys, newsflash, sports cards were on a steady rise up from 2013 through COVID. Cards just didn't explode during COVID. I started noticing at the 2016 National in Chicago when everybody was geared up for Chris Bryant, Jorge Soler, Albert Amora. You know, the Cubs were kind of on the rise there. They ended up winning a World Series. But I remember going to the National, and it was the first time I'd ever seen people there. This is 2016. I remember there was a freaking line to get in for the first time. This is the National. It's only 7 years ago. I was shocked to see a line to get in. These group breakers have never seen a down market. Leighton says he did 20 million in sales. That was probably his peak. Mm-hmm. I imagine in the last year, or certainly in the last 6 months or whatever, maybe the sales have kept up, but I bet his margin has shrunk as Fanatics has taken control and card prices have dipped. Luka Trey, Zion are all bust in terms of sports cards. Complete bust. And the oversupply that Panini makes of these cards and tops as well. Zion could come back and win 3 straight championships, and I don't know if the card price honestly budges very much at all. That's the unfortunate situation. So this article didn't actually touch on that very much. The fact that latent sports cards and these other breakers, yeah, they're dealing with uncertain times about maybe, hey, there's maybe regulation. No, they're also dealing with uncertain times of their sales and their overall business and the rise in competition. That literally anybody could, with a Whatnot account, could get on here and bring Antonio Brown on your stream. You could bring Cade Cunningham on your stream, however you want to advertise and get people to come on here and try to buy spots from you. And if you have 2 younger guys who are willing to sit here for hours upon hours and try to sell these spots, you might have yourself a breaking business. But you're operating in, at best, a gray area of the law. At best. And that would certainly concern me. And we have seen people in the sports card hobby get busted for things that you would never in your wildest dream think they would get busted for. The guy who ran the Scammers Exposed Facebook group with Yadip Daniel, Chris Gilmore, with a sponsor of Nathan Burns. He got arrested for trying to raffle his Dodge Challenger off on Facebook. So would it shock me to see that North Dakota or it would probably be a very small conservative state, enforces or creates new laws surrounding the opening of sports card packs, perhaps even Magic and Yu-Gi-Oh. We didn't even touch on that, you know, like, hey, if you're going to regulate sports cards, you might have to dip over into the Magic and Pokemon side. It'd be interesting to see if there was any distinction between the two. But we have interesting times in the sports card world as we lead up to the National. We're about a month away from the National in Chicago.
Ron Marion did just email us.
And what did he say? What's the email?
He says, I'm pulling up the email. Ron Marion is the guy with the Dodge Charger.
Okay, yeah, let's bring him up.
He says that, would you be interested in the story, What People Don't Know? No one has ever asked me, period, what happened, period.
No. We know what happened, bro. Stop. Ron, let me talk to you, bro. It's all in here in the police report where you admit, bro, to a police officer that you know what you're doing is illegal, bro. You can read this. Unless that's a lie, unless you didn't say that, bro, it even says it in the article that you knew what you were doing was illegal, Ron.
You did it.
You admitted it to the cops. I mean,
which is, dude, if you had a $2 attorney, they would have told you, Ron,
shut up.
Shut the up. Don't say anything. And you'll walk out of here with a little slap on your face. No, Ron, you went to the police and told them you were a criminal. You told them. You admitted it. You literally did the most stupid thing anyone ever does in their life. A cop shows up and you tell him you're a criminal. And you tell him what you did. A $2 attorney can get you out of almost any situation. Okay? Obviously, in a situation like this, where it's like, I'm razzing my car. You didn't actually you didn't give the keys to somebody. Right? He didn't actually give the keys to somebody.
The Raz failed. He had like 3 failed Razes on the thing.
He could have gotten out of this with nothing. 0. He never gave the keys to somebody. So the transaction.
Well, he didn't own the car. He didn't even own the car.
He didn't even own the car. Yeah. I mean, come on. The bank owns the car. I mean, come on. Bro, if you didn't go to the police and tell them that you were a criminal and you knew what you were doing was a criminal act, you would have 0 on your record as we speak today. No, when the cops knocked on your door, you told them what I am doing is illegal. I know what I'm doing is illegal. And so you made the job of not only the police, but the district attorney about as simple as it gets. The district attorney looks at these cases and says, wait, he admitted it? He already told us he's guilty? Oh, of course we'll take this in front of a judge. The district attorney makes these decisions, not the policeman. Policeman takes a report, sends that to the district attorney. District attorney reads it and wait a second. He could have gotten a $2 attorney that just graduated law school and got him out of this free and clear, probably with nothing. But no, he admitted it. So no, Ron, would you be interested in the story and what people don't know? No, what we do know is you're a fucking moron. You staged a raffle on the internet for a car that the bank owns. You didn't even own the car. You didn't even have the pink slip. You were still making payments on a Dodge Charger you were underwater on. You start raffling off the car. I don't even know if you take possession of any of the money. We know for a fact you didn't give the keys over to the car. So you never actually transferred possession of anything. Anything. And the police knocked on your door and you told them, I did something illegal, guys. Arrest me, please. Hands behind my back. Take me away. I mean, come on, bro. It's just, come on.
Is it going to be this easy taking down the group breakers? You could just waltz right into,
probably.
Just waltz right in, I think, and just arrest these guys.
They're going to just all start pointing the finger to each other. Like, oh, he makes 20 million. He makes 18 million. He over there. Oh, I know he's fucking people. He didn't pay his taxes in 2022. Like that. I mean, that's what's going to happen. So Ron, we already know what happened. We already know you're running in the circles with Chris Gilmore. Okay. To those the 600 tuning in to Sports Card Radio, Chris Gilmore is the guy that appears in 99.999% of videos that we've done here on Sports Card Radio over the past 2 years. He's the guy that says, you dip. Okay. And then dipped a pack, not only dipped a pack, but then came back on video and then explained how he didn't dip the pack, but then he did. And then he had to come out with a third video. And then we had Daniel on our live stream at least once or twice. I got at this point, I don't remember. But Daniel came on and said, Chris got a little frazzled or whatever. Yeah. No, Ron, we know the story. Bro, with all due respect, you're an idiot. You're a clown. You're stupid as hell. First of all, you live in South Dakota. Like, no, don't disrespect anybody in South Dakota. But, you know, your IQ is about
He
as,
says,
as
Ron Marion's in the chat. He says,
what do you say?
but he says, if this is the Ron Marion, it probably is. Hell, maybe he's got a new
probably
Mustang
is.
in there.
It
Woo!
is.
And
It's, it matches.
yeah.
It matches.
Yeah, that is him. That's him.
That's him.
It says, liars like you are why our community is going.
No,
south.
it's
Are you-
not. No, it's not. You're the liar, bro. You had a Dodge Charger. You were still making payments on the Dodge Charger. And you put it up for a raffle online. And at the same time, you're a moderator or a member, or I don't know what it is, of a scammers group. Bro, the bank owns your car, and then you tried to raffle it online. Come on, guys. Peace, gang. Waste of time. Thought maybe the community might want the truth instead of, dude, we have the police report. Ron, we have the police report where you say in there the truth. Are we supposed to not believe a police report? Are we not supposed to believe the district attorney?
He might be admitting that he lied under oath.
Yeah, now you're even being even stupider at this point, bro. Just turn your back on the whole thing, bro. You didn't own the car. First of all, you didn't even own the car. Okay, the bank owned the car. The car wasn't even yours, and you were trying to raffle it off.
It literally says right here in the police report. Marion also stated he knew the raffle was illegal. Guys, it's in
That's
the
in a police
report.
He told that to the police. Guys, like, come on. And he didn't even own the car. This wasn't even a car he owned outright. He was making payments on this car, and he tried to raffle it off. That alone is illegal. Okay. You don't own the car, and now you're trying to like sell it. Okay. I mean, you could do that, but now you got to pay the bank. But come on, Ron, this isn't the low IQ club over here at Sports Card Radio. We you know, look, we've been on to you for a long time.
Read.
Yeah, we can read, bro.
This is the Real Talk Hour. Ron, here's the crazy thing. I totally forgot about this today until I was looking for an example of somebody getting busted for an illegal raffle. And bro, this came up. I literally forgot about it. And then I was like, oh, the purple Challenger. And so I was like, oh my God, I got to get all the pictures. And I literally went back to one of our old Facebook posts, and all of these things were there. So these were posted by actually other people who I don't think are a big fan of yours. You know, you ran this Scammers Exposed Facebook group with kind of an iron fist. You and Nathan Burns, you and Chris Gilmore, you kind of acted like you guys were all high and mighty. You just put people on blast without real evidence of, say, a police report where it says that you knew the raffle was illegal, bro. I could throw you under the bus further for some other stuff that I know, but I'm feeling charitable tonight. I'm feeling charitable. I'm feeling nice. We've got investors all over the sports card space who have lost tons of money on your boy Zion Williamson over here. $22 this ended at tonight.
Ooh.
Shockingly, the hobby has more faith in John Morant, the gun-toting gangster who would never set foot in a place like Stockton, California. On the bright side of things, we do have Derek Fisher cards selling for $3,300.
Wow.
That's going to shock some people, but I didn't win this. I was curious what this Ted Williams, look, it's in an altered holder. You can see your favorite card trimmer, Jason Kuntz or whoever, probably tried to trim this, and you could see the hack job that happened here that maybe went awry.
Nice card.
This is a freaking very expensive card in any kind of condition. So I was trying to just splash around. I was trying to get it for less than $100, but But we do have an uncertain future for the hobby. Uncertain future for this Dodge Challenger. Who knows where that thing is? Uncertain future for the breakers over on Whatnot. Will they have to be, will they be able to break on eBay? Will they be able to be accepted into Fanatics? Once again, we're watching Backyard Breaks, and they are opening nothing. It's amazing how much time these guys spend literally opening nothing. We have Mike Fruitman in Aurora, Colorado.
Still a ways to go, he says.
Still a ways to go. Fanatics,
better. Looking better.
Looking better. Fanatics is not going to like this. It's just everything's so unorganized. This is not how they're going to want their shops to look.
His shop is very unorganized. He's local to me.
This is Mikey Fruitman. We know you're probably watching. Buddy, you're going to have to really get it together. If you want to become a part of the Good Old Boy Network again, you want to become a part of the Fanatics team, that's your dream, that's your life goal, you're really going to have to get it together. Because this is not going to cut it. You're going to have to tighten it up. These slats on the wall, probably not going to work. You're going to have to do something a little cleaner. We've got a lot happening in the sports card world. I would definitely encourage people to go listen to your boy, Rob Vera's tee off on these group breakers.
My boy.
Called you guys fractionalized gambling. I mean, I heard Rob Vera's talk 10 years ago at the Beckett Industry Summit, and this guy can give such a compelling talk about selling sports cards. Yeah, I almost went out and bought 50,000 cards that very day. Commons. This guy could get you jacked about selling commons. He doesn't appear to be a big fan of group breaking. And we're going to see how his influence and how his weight is in the hobby. Again, this is the guy who runs or is a part of the Burbank Sports Card Show, August 31st through September 3rd. Could be, besides the Dallas shows that go off every couple months, this Burbank card show is going to be maybe the second or third biggest card show behind the National, and maybe one of those Dallas shows. It's at the Anaheim Convention Center. So this guy's going to have a lot of sway, and he's not a fan of group breaking. You want to get to questions?
Ooh. Yeah, we better, because
is Ron calling in? Is Ron going to call in, and we're going to talk about
it? I don't think we have anything to say to him. That's the thing. It's like he bought a Dodge Challenger. He was underwater on it. He was struggling financially. He raffled it off. He knew what he was doing was wrong. He probably did the smart thing. I mean, kind of, and told the police the truth. But in this situation, you could have gotten an attorney. I don't know what his cost on this ended up being. Maybe he got off and it was fine, whatever. But look, if you're trying to get a job, they do background checks. If you're trying to buy a 2A instrument, they're doing background checks. So these types of things can interfere with a lot of that stuff. And so, like, you could have gotten an attorney and gotten you off scot-free on this. Scot-free. And now you're emailing us while we're doing a show with 600 people watching, saying would be interested in the story. No, bro, we know the story. We know the story.
Yeah.
You were broke.
Asking if you want the truth.
Yeah. We know the truth. You told the police the truth.
You told the truth.
We're actually doing him a favor by not letting him on, because he's
Yes.
just incriminate himself more.
Yes. It's ridiculous. Sick of it. We probably should go to questions, because probably going to need to pee here in about 10 minutes. Trading cards immortal. Pac-Man pulling Cade Cunningham autos with him. I smell rigged. So apparently Pac-Man and Mojo were on the same stream. Cade Cunningham pulls his own auto. Seems about standard.
Seems standard.
Standard operating. Parabellum Collectible says we don't read SHIT. We rely on channels like this. to give us the info. I appreciate it. I think the videos have been great. I've been watching the videos, and I think they've been very high entertainment value, in my opinion.
I'm just
If
trying
the
to
government,
imitate Doug Bulk.
sure, yeah, no, I think he's been great. I've been watching his stuff too. I haven't played a hand of poker in 5 years. If the government has not stepped in to regulate daily fantasy, which generates 100 times what cards do, be years at best to have an interest in cards.
Daily fantasy is regulated.
It is regulated at the state level.
Yeah.
There's only certain states that allow it. I don't think there's something at the federal level, and I don't know if daily fantasy is 100 times bigger than sports cards. Sports cards is a big, when we're just talking about top line revenue, it's a big business, big in quotes. If you want to compare it to Microsoft, it's nothing. But in terms of business and commerce, look, actually behind the TV contracts for the leagues, the trading cards is the biggest. Okay. Yes. The TV, the Super Bowl, the NFL games, the league pass, huge contract. Okay. That's what pays everything. If it wasn't for the TV contracts, these players would be making nothing. Okay. Everybody knows this. Okay. Right behind that is the trading cards. It's actually bigger than the apparel, honestly. Okay. There's much more trading cards made in a year than NFL jerseys. So it's actually a pretty big business when we're talking about licensed sports. Okay. Big in air quotes. Is it big compared to what Google is doing on a daily basis? No. But is it big? Yes. And daily fantasy is regulated to a certain degree. Village cards, Raz's are definitely illegal. Yes, that's without a doubt. Maybe the lawyer is just salty. He pulled the A's in his break. That would be, look, if a lawyer gets salty, they could, they've got some things here. Brian Bayless saying whether or not breaking is gambling. Let's all agree. The Jabs should be in prison first. His ex-wife might agree. Right. Has he reunited with his ex-wife, or he has a new?
I do not know the story. I wish I was up to date and I could share with the Sports Card Radio viewers what the updated situation was on Jab's family personal situation. I did vaguely, and I don't know if it was true or hear that there may have been some kind of reconciliation. So, the wife might have left for a while. Relationships go up and down. If you're married, for any length of time, you have good times and bad times. So, maybe he kicked the wife out for a little while, played with his cards and figured, what, when these cameras go off and these lights go out, it'd be nice to have a female around. So maybe he invited her back. So, yeah. Or maybe he keeps the cameras on when that happens. I don't know.
Jab's family OnlyFans.
Eric family after dark.
Bevelo, love that last name. And what's even worse is the redemption chases are never redeemed. Yeah, it's a Ponzi scheme. Redemptions are a Ponzi scheme. They get you to buy into these products. They put in a product or a card, in this case, that they're never going to redeem, and they recycle that over and over. They take your money, and they take Peter to go pay Paul, and they just do that over and over and again. And I agree. That's one of the bigger scams in the hobby. Cannabis saying same as buying a box at Target, but yes, the box at Target does have a no purchase necessary. If you look at the fine print on every trading card box you buy, there is fine print. When you bought into a break this week on Backyard Breaks, was there fine print? No, there's no fine print. Okay. And that fine print, I know, like we're nitpicking here. Okay. We're nitpicking. Okay. But fine print exists for a reason. Okay. If companies didn't have to do fine print, they wouldn't do it, because it just costs money and it's a waste of space. And then sometimes you see those, like, you see that medical pill or something that you're supposed to be taking, and they're like, well, you might die, and you might have diarrhea, and you might have tummy aches, and you might have 3 babies. Like they don't say that because they want to. They say that because the law requires that they announce the side effects. Same thing with the NPN. The companies are not putting the no purchase necessary on the packs because they like you and they want to give you a chance at a free card. That is a settled case. We're talking about case law. Now, I'm not an attorney. Sure as hell don't want to be one, but settled. And this dates back 10 years ago. I looked into this. Okay. Settled case law is that every sports trading card pack that is sold has to have a no purchase necessary. This is on the pack. This is on the unopened box. The companies are not putting those there for fun. They're not putting theirs because they want to give something away. It is there because it's required by law. Okay. And maybe a group breaker can do that. That's the way to skirt around the law. There's always these weird ways to, like a casino on Indian land that just happens to be, just off the freeway here in California. Okay. I was driving down, what was it, 99 or 5? I can't remember. And there's a casino right there. Oh, so an Indian land was right off one of the busiest freeways.
I guess it was all Indian land at some point. So
yeah.
you can put it anywhere.
That seems convenient right there. You know what I mean? And so it used to be the Indian casinos were out in the sticks here in California. And now they're right off the freaking freeway. So look, there's always ways to weasel your way around the law. And the NPN, no purchase necessary, is how they do that. Just Man Sports Cards coming in with that $2. I might come in handy tonight. I'm hungry. I've been,
me too.
Doing my
$1
thing. Brandon Walker, isn't every unopened pack a gamble? Very much like the NPN we talked about. Guys, the companies don't put no purchase. Look at the next pack you open. There is a no purchase necessary on there. And then in Canada, you have to do like a math equation. Like in one of these states and countries, you have to do a math equation. You can't even just you actually have to, there actually has to be skill involved. That's what tells you that this is gambling. That there are some jurisdictions where just opening a pack requires a no purchase not just a no purchase necessary where you fill out a postcard and you might get a free pack. No, you have to answer a math equation because it has to be skill-based. Skill-based. No purchase necessary. NPN offers. Is there a site? I remember there was an NPN cards on Twitter and he hasn't tweeted in ages. Yeah. And so, but I remember that guy. Brian Bayless, Pac-Man ripped a box of Prism with Cade Cunningham and Cade pulled his own autograph. Seems like it's another day in the hobby, guys. Another freaking day in the hobby. Anyone in this chat, honest question. If you see all this news, do you still buy Panini products? Absolutely freaking not, is what I would say. No, look at this. These Zions. Just wait. And I would say this this was going back to the podcast days. I would be like, guys, just wait 3 to 5 years before you buy any new product. Wait 3 to 5 years. Okay? Before you buy Ja, before you buy Zion, just wait 3 years, guys. Just wait. Just wait. If he confirms he's the next GOAT, if he's already won a title, it is still a good buy. It's still a good buy. Okay? But 99.999% of the time, what happens? They do what these guys do. Okay? And look, we're not criticizing Ja and Zion. If I was 22 and I had money and I had, look, okay, would I be doing what Zion was doing? Yeah, probably. Would I be doing what Ja was doing? Yeah, probably. Okay. So what they're doing is not at all out of the realm of possibilities. In fact, it's the probable outcome. Okay. Look at Kobe. Kobe, when he was 22, 23. I don't remember when he got caught up in his whole thing. Look, this is what happens. It's what happens. Okay. Just wait a couple years. Okay. Just wait. What becomes of Mama and Papa breaks? I don't know. Honestly.
Here's a quote from this article. It says, truth be told, companies like Topps and Panini are legally obligated to provide a way for everyone to get cards without a purchase. Due to the gambling nature of the hobby, some exceptions exist for high-end products such as Panini Flawless. So for some reason, you don't have to do that. It seems like that would be the product where you need to. And you can see the fine print here. MPN offers, again, on your next blaster box you box, next pack you buy.
It's there.
Here, look at the MPN. It's on there for a reason. And these breakers, you don't have to click a box and sign an MPN when you're over here. They're running a real gray area. At least the card companies have tried. They've set up a PO box. They put this language on every single pack. To get lawyers
like
probably
a math
to fill it
equation
out.
there. You have to answer this math equation.
Because it has to be a game of skill. Anything that involves chance, that is gambling. Doesn't have to be cards. Doesn't have to be horse betting. Doesn't have to be a sports bet. Doesn't have to be fantasy sports. Any time where there's just a random chance. And when you guys got these duck races out and the wheels and the random teams, people don't know what they're buying. That's actually very, very rare. Anything you buy, you actually know what you're getting. When you go to the store to buy groceries, you know exactly what you are buying.
Right.
The ingredients are on your freaking food. If you buy a freaking food product, the freaking ingredients are all there for you.
And if it's gluten-free and has gluten in there, you can sue. You know, like you have a legitimate case there. No, this industry is I mean, I hesitate to call it a gray area. I think it's completely into the area of it's illegal to do these group breaks.
That's why when Leighton goes to ESPN and says, I make $20 million, that's like being like, hey, I deal drugs and I make $20 million. Hey, I run a card room in my house and we do 20 million off the rake. Like, dude, shut your fucking mouth. Like if I was every single group breaker, I'd send him a text and be like, dude, shut up. You already broke Heroes of Sport. You didn't tell ESPN what you got for breaking Heroes of Sport. That'd be a great question to ask Leighton Sports Cards. What was the compensation for you after you knew this MFer was shady that you decided to break 25 cases or boxes of his products?
Stupid.
Every single breaker should be texting Leighton Sports Card being like, thanks, bro.
Shut up.
Basically a drug dealer going to ESPN and saying, yeah, I make 20 mil.
Yeah. Or like a mafia guy being like, oh yeah, we embezzle $20 million a year. And we run it through the casino and it turns into cash and we don't got to pay taxes on it. Like, shut up. Mad Dad with a €5.99, I think. Buying into a break is no more gambling than buying a box of cards in a break. You get cards from sets you can't otherwise afford. But that is why, again, the box has boilerplate language on it. Every box you buy, I guess, other than maybe Flawless, and the packs have and look, I know, like the boilerplate language, who cares? Like tell that to Pfizer the next time they run an ad and they don't run the side effects to the medicine. There'd be like 80 lawsuits the very next day. Okay. So you don't want the light shined on this hobby. You don't want it. You don't want to tell people you make 20 million. Okay. This is so idiotic, guys. Like, it's idiotic. It really is. Thecarddeal.com. That's got to be a good site. Please tell me you all saw Jeff Wilson open 1986 Topps football box. No freaking way he's ever opened or collected a sleeved card in his life. Guy with no hands can do better. Pull up that video. I have not been tuning in to Jeff Wilson. I'll tell you what, the only card content I'm consuming is I watch AIH Sports, I watch Dan the Card Man, and I watch Ryan's videos. And that's it. But we'll do a little Jeff Wilson here too. You guys need Dan the Card Man to enter the live stream one day. I think we do. That'd be great.
I think he might come on next week. I think he messaged me. He was maybe going to come on this week, but he might come on
Oh, okay.
next week. So Dan,
There you
if you're in the chat, why don't you we pop
Nice.
on next week and we talk about all the fun stuff in the hobby.
Okay. That's cool. I know he's in Australia. I don't know the time there, but yeah, we'll do it. John Fishman, how about Jab's family doing Saturday showdown? Lowest serial number card wins everything. Is that gambling? Sounds like it. Sounds like it.
If it
prices.
sounds like gambling, it's probably gambling.
It is gambling. It is gambling. Let Ja carry his Glock. I agree.
Right, baby.
Okay, I don't know the 2A laws in Memphis. He might not be breaking any. You know, is it silly? Look, do I advise, you know, like the 2A on Instagram Live? No, I don't think you should do that. But does Ja have every freaking right to protect himself, his family, his friends, whatever he wants to do? Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, think about when this guy goes out. I mean, it must be like a freaking mob.
Absolutely.
Of around
And
this
this
guy.
is why
Anywhere
I
he
think I
goes.
said this a couple weeks ago. The team, Nike, both should pay somebody $100,000 a year to do this for him. Okay. And I'm not trying to take away his right here in America. And it's a right. It's not a privilege. It's a right that he has to protect himself and his family and his friends. He has that right. Okay. And he's in the great state of Tennessee, I believe, which like totally agrees with that right. I believe he has that right. Do we need to put that on Instagram Live? Do we need to put that on
Just
Twitter?
leave it off Instagram Live, brother. Yeah, that's how.
I don't think you need to go there, bro. And look, is that against the law? Is that something, you know, like, again, as somebody that's totally 110% pro 2A, like, do I mind him putting this on Instagram? Not necessarily. I actually have no problem with Ja. Young guy. I think he's having fun. I admire him in a lot of ways, but we should be smart about this. And I agree. Let him do his thing. Let him exercise his right. But at the same time, I mean, come on.
Woo! Getting busy.
Come on.
Our boys over
He
here
hasn't even
getting
gotten
busy.
Yeah. Wait till he gets his extension.
Our boy is getting busy over here.
Come on. You think he's got the Glock? I think he's got the Glock there.
I think the crime is the strip club for publishing this photo. I mean, how are you going to get any rich guy to ever go to your club again if you're freaking how did this picture leak out? First of all, look at this guy right here just chilling. There's a guy like right here in this image, just like, damn. Who's going to pick
that
up all
much money
this
on
money
the ground? It's like, bro,
there's just so much money,
bro. Even if I scooped up half of this money, come on, the girls make it out. It's all good. No, like I believe, like I'm being real here. Like Ja has every right to do this, to carry his thing, but I think the team and his sponsors should think long and hard. Maybe they should step in and help this guy out. That he's young, he's figuring these things out. Like, that's just my opinion. Jay Dizzo with the 420 Canadian. I own a 0.42 acres, nowhere near a golf course. That sounds nice. Look, 0.42 acres, 4.2 acres, just about anywhere. Let's be real, guys. Real estate's still expensive. Beautiful thing. Thank you for the 420, Jay Dizzo. Nugs Cards Fanatics should partner with FanDuel. Done. I think they're trying to compete almost with FanDuel, but it doesn't mean there wouldn't be a partnership in the future there. So we'll see. Honestly, I don't mind the blurring of trading cards and gambling and mixing those lists and marketing to both. I don't mind it. You know, we come up in the online poker days. We come up as a fan of gambling. We go to Las Vegas and we responsibly gamble. I think we have fun, but we don't degenerate our money in those cities. You even live there and you didn't, you know, it's not like
I didn't degenerate my money on gambling. Not at all. Maybe females,
Sure.
maybe a half dozen females that
You
I
know,
met.
well, yeah, we're not talking about females. I mean, like Zion, but well, I guess Ja too.
Well,
Degenerate on females too, but you know, look, but yeah, like we don't have a problem. Actually, I don't have a problem with gambling. I don't have a problem with FanDuel. I had one of the #1 daily fantasy websites. If you searched daily college fantasy football, which was actually a pretty large term, my site would come up at #1. So like I lived and breathed daily college fantasy for like 2 or 3 years. So like I don't have a problem with gambling. I just think it should all be done in the context of the law, I guess. Maybe that makes me a PWAD, but whatever. Matthew Percy coming in with the Percy. Coming in with 1999. Great job, boys. Keep it and real. That's right. Matthew, thank you very much, sir, for the 1999. Very much appreciated. Philip Fabiani. Sounds like he'd have a little pay to linguiça right now. $10. Group breakers equal cockroaches. They're going to scatter when the lights go on. That's why I watch you guys. Look, Philip, you're right on target. And the $10 is going to be coming right on target here over at Sports Card Radio too. Yeah. And look, we said this 10 years ago, so we're maybe a little ahead of our time back in those days. Like I legitimately remember saying, guys, you do not want this business to get big, because if it gets big, then all of a sudden it gets regulated, regulated in air quotes. So thank you, Philip. Appreciate it, my man. The Bullhorns Hot Mike says, what happened to your boy Brian Gray getting hacked? I didn't see this. Did you see this?
Yeah.
Like, okay.
Maybe he got hit. Leaf trading. And hey, this is going to happen if you're... Look, our website, Sports Card Radio, has probably been hacked, I don't know, probably 4 or 5 different times at least. I remember there was one time where it got hacked, and then there was like an image on the front, and it was like a middle finger, and it says, this website's been hacked by this random group. So it's like, if you're in this game long enough, you're going to get hacked. But yeah, his website, or not website, his Twitter account was hacked by, I don't know, some kind of crypto scam, basically, some kind of crypto scam. So, he's going to have to turn on 2-factor authentication, which I think you can only have if you actually are signed up for the Twitter, whatever, $8 a month, Twitter Blue or whatever it's called. So it's life. If you run a website or if you have a social media account, Sports Card Radio hasn't been hacked in a long time because I think it's harder to do those things now, but it's life. It's not terror. I would say what's happening over here with Zion, it's a little bit more embarrassing where his Snapchat DMs, but from Mariah Mills are getting out there and things like that. The freaking strip club releasing a photo of you just getting busy on whatever. This could be like a random Tuesday night. Why are you throwing your boy Zion under the bus like this? Like, how did this photo get out? Like, somebody should be honestly fired for this, in my opinion. But Leaf Cards, yeah, his Twitter account got hacked, and so for a few hours they were trying to work some things out. But I think getting hacked was a bigger deal. It kind of depends on the hack, the Sony hack, or some of these things that have happened are a bigger deal. But yeah, some kind of crypto scam hacked him for a little bit, and
yeah, I've seen that actually. 2 guys I follow, like Peter Schiff and Jim Bianco in the I only follow maybe like 100 people in finance, and both of them got whacked in the same week with crypto. Like, go sign up for my whatever Bianco coin or whatever it is. And so it does happen, and I'm not trying to make an excuse or dismiss it, but it does happen. Buyer's remorse. SCR needs to make more I told you so videos. I love those. Expose the rats. That would be Ryan's job at the current time to make the I
Those
told
are
you
fun.
so
Those
videos.
those are actually maybe the most fun to watch. I actually think, I think we're in the beginning stages of kind of the I told you so. I think we're going to be seeing documentaries and more mainstream media outlets go back and look at the euphoria of the card market and just look at how stupid it was that people were pouring money into literally Ja, Zion, Luka, Trey,
Sure.
and then on down the line, guys with even less talent.
And look, I actually think you're going to look back in 5 or 7, maybe certainly 10 years, and you're going to look back and be like, this was the time you actually buy. Not necessarily Ja and Zion. I think every case is unique, but look, with inflation going where it's at, and I often justify this, with my own purchases. It's like, okay, what is this going to cost in 20 years? You know what I mean? Like in today's dollars, it's going to be a lot more. And so I actually think we're going to look back and have I told you so videos where it's like we were pounding the table and making ourselves vulnerable a little bit and be like, look, we're on gold and buying stuff. Like nobody's doing that. Okay. Like you should be on here buying some of this stuff. Honestly, I think you should. And you make that decision. If you think John Zion is a buy, by all means, you might have a great argument there. Look, people don't remember, like LeBron James stuff wasn't that expensive a year or two into his career. It was, he passed the ball when he had a game-winning shot, he passed the ball to Capono or whatever, whoever he had on his team or whatever. You know what I mean? So like, and even Kobe, like he didn't pass to Shaq, or he didn't, he did what he did in a hotel room or whatever. You know what I mean? So like I actually think we'll be looking back in 5 or 6 years and being like, yeah, guys, you guys were sitting here crying, oh my God, you're buying on golden. And we'll be sitting here being like, yeah, we have a safe that we probably have 25,000 into and it's worth $250,000. While you guys are sitting here crying, like there's
buying in the breaks. I mean,
yeah, we're doing this. We're doing this.
Like you want to throw money away. I mean, just do this. Did
we see Jeff Wilson mention y'all on Rob? I did not see this. The only thing I've seen recently is I've been on Instagram in a little while, but somebody they had like a strength that I sent to you this video. They had like a strength tester, like you grip it and then like it spit out a number or whatever. And as Jeff Wilson is squeezing it, he goes, "Sports Card Radio." So no, I haven't seen Jeff mention this. Look, like we put ourselves in this position, and so people are going to talk about us. People are going to and look, we do the same thing. We put other people's names in our mouth to get views and to get clicks and whatever. And so like, I understand, like put our name in your mouth and it gets you an audience. I actually take that as a huge compliment, that the fact that he is putting our name in his mouth, like I actually think that's like, I actually take that as a compliment, honestly. Dave Snyder says, I think Jeremy Lee needs to answer some tough questions.
Wow.
When's the last time he answered? When's the last time he asked a tough question? I watch his shows and I'm starting to question his thing. Look, Jeremy Lee is bought. Okay. This guy doesn't have a unique thought in his brain. Period.
Damn. You're firing. You're coming out firing.
No, I mean, I just call it how I see it. I've seen this guy for like 5 minutes. It's like, dude, this guy doesn't have a unique thought in his whole head. It's whatever PWCC is paying him to say. It's whatever company wants to pay him, whatever, any amount of money. And that's okay. It's okay. It's not a criticism. It's just he doesn't have a unique take in this whole hobby.
He's
He's
literally
just-
like mini me from Austin
Yeah.
Powers.
Yeah. He's just
No thought. And
yeah,
looks like
no,
him.
he doesn't have a thought in his mind. It's whoever wants, look, if you started a breaking company, if you started a grading company, if you started an app, if you started whatever, you could start a new dog manure recycling company. And if you paid this guy, he would promote it and he would talk about it. Period. And if you want to watch, that's okay. That's okay. Okay. I'm not saying don't watch them. Just saying, like, I don't have time in my day to do that. SER, who have you reached out to come on the show lately and that they've declined? I don't know. Have we reached out to anybody even? I mean, what was it? A month ago? I don't remember when this was, but maybe it was 2 months ago. We're doing a live with Candace, beautiful Candace. And who called in? Okay. So like people, and then Brian Gray has been on the show. And then I was on AIH live stream one time and I like a cockroach weaseled my way into the live stream or whatever. And then me and Brian Gray have a conversation on there. So no, I mean, I don't know. Like, is there anybody in the hobby that we would reach? Maybe, I mean, like Jeff Wilson, if we reach out to Jeff, which we haven't, but if we reach out to Jeff Wilson, was like, hey, Jeff, you want to come on next Thursday? Like, would I be surprised if he didn't answer or said no? Absolutely not. But other than that, we actually get way more requests to come on the show. Like, we get people being like, just bring me on the show. I'll come on next week. Like Marion, this week. He emails us during the show. I'll come on and tell you something that you don't know. And it's like, no, you won't, because we have the police report where you told him the truth. You know what I mean? Like, no, we have dozens of people like Will Jamett offered to come on the show.
Yeah.
Will Jamett offered to come on the show. Oh, what's his name? The other guy that broke with him, Grand Slam guy, wants to come on the show.
Mm-hmm. I think it's
Mike
better. I think it's better sometimes, and people in our position, I think it's better, and we've done this actually for a number of years. It's just keep a lot of these guys at arm's distance.
Yeah,
and don't get close to a lot of these people. And that's why when people, why don't you show up at these card events? I don't show up because I don't want to get close to anybody. It's easy. Right. It's actually better for us in our position to not have a close relationship with people, because once you do that, and we've seen this countless of times, once you do that, you may not be willing to talk. The ESPN article comes out and you may not be able to want to talk about it in as clear, a way as you can, because you're biased to Leighton because he's your boy, and you're proud of him, and so on and so forth, and you don't want to see anything happen to him. And we've had Leighton on the show. Leighton's been on the show. We used to be actually kind of friendly with him. It was after he broke with Heroes of Sport. It was because Leighton, if you're watching this, bro, you knew Heroes of Sport was shady. And there's levels of shadiness in this hobby. Okay. We can go through every company, big and large. But Heroes of Sport had never been around this. Bro, this was their first product. First product they botched. Leighton, I probably have you on tape talking about how shady Heroes of Sport is. I probably have that on tape somewhere. And then you, along with only 3 other guys, decide to break his product years later after you knew he was shady. And that's when I stopped being friendly with him, because I'm like, bro, that something's just not right there. Like, you compromised your business. You disrespected the hobby. Breakers who opened Heroes of Sport, that was a disrespect to the hobby. I think you guys who run these raffles. Dude, it's a disrespect to like Panini. Like, at the time, who pays his bills? Who writes his checks? Panini. And a distributor, probably. You know what I mean? And then he goes and opens Heroes of Sport.
It's
in
like,
the same stream. Probably he opens a
Yeah.
Panini box and then he cuts right to Heroes of Sport.
bro,
This is exactly
disrespectful.
this is exactly actually what Rob Vera's kind of was touching on.
Mm.
How do you want to represent the hobby? Do you want to represent it by these clowns on Whatnot who are willing to open Heroes of Sport, who are willing to raffle their Dodge Challenger on Facebook and get arrested for it, who are operating in a clear, at best, gray area of the law? Is this how we want the hobby represented? Group breaks have only really been around and popular for what, about 10 years. This is not how cards were typically sold. This is not how the hobby typically went. Is this the representation that we want in the hobby? These little frat boys coming over here doing duck races and randoms, hootering and hollering like they're over here in the strip club with Ja. Is this the way you want your hobby represented? Is this the next 10 years forward? It's just going to be the same, just tired act of you guys pumping up Ja, pumping up Zion, pumping up the next biggest hit. These are just glorified slot machines with different names on them.
Yeah.
Is this the way we're going to represent the hobby? And so once Leighton Sports Cards decided to disrespect his business, disrespect every card company known to man, disrespect every single group breaker, disrespect anyone who knew how shady Heroes of Sport was, and decided to get in bed and do business with him, that's when I ceased to have any respect for Leighton Sports Cards.
Yeah.
Because the guy's only in it for money. He's only in it for himself, and he's only in it for money. I don't give a fuck the interviews that he does, and he tries to act all fucking nice and cool. Bro, you're just in this for the money. You don't give a fuck about anyone else but yourself. This shit pisses me the fuck off, which is fine.
But don't get on Jeremy Lee's show and say, I'm in it for the hobby. No, you're not.
Shut the fuck up. You're lying
to the 20 million in sales.
And that's it, which is fine. But again, I wouldn't be bragging about that when you're basically running a fucking illegal online casino.
Yeah.
Online, you're not just running like a backroom card room in your house in Florida where you're probably going to get away with it. And the only way you're going to get busted is if the state busts you, state of Florida busts you. Bro, you take orders from every state in the country. Any state, Leighton, could come after you. North Dakota, bro, could come after you tomorrow.
Yeah, they could.
Because you do business over here. You probably actually don't pay taxes into North Dakota.
Nope. Well, sales tax, probably, at this point.
Oh, that's true.
Anthony Leclerc, can I invest $100 million into sports card radio?
Yes, sold.
Yes, sold.
Sold.
We'll give you 200% equity. 49%.
Yeah, 49, bro. You get 100.
Take off a couple zeros. Yes, Anthony. I'll send you my wire information and whatever you want to send for 49% equity.
It's great for my 5%.
There it is, baby.
Exactly. We'll carve out your 5%. 5% of 100 million. You're probably not working tomorrow. Smoke and Scan, who I think's got a big channel here. Got a big channel here on YouTube. You guys see that you can tell which boxes contain kabooms and galactics in 2023 Revolution WWE. Now looking at the serial numbers, can find the big hits in each inner. Doesn't surprise me. That doesn't surprise me.
Oh boy.
Based on what we've seen with Panini, based on what we saw with the kaboom stuff, I think that's our number one video still to this day. That doesn't surprise me. And it is, this is why you don't see us opening. Like, I can't remember, I have a safe, like less than 10 yards from where I'm sitting. And it has unopened boxes in there, like good ones. Okay. Ones that are worth, there's some that are worth like $3,000 or $4,000 in there, like really good unopened boxes. There's a reason why I don't walk out there and I'm not tempted at all to open them. And it's because of stuff like this. I think you're much better off going to whatever website you want to go. I don't care. But, look, we're having a huge amount of success buying on Golden. Are they the fastest shippers? Are they, is everything, like is it the most button up experience? Sometimes. But we're having the most success there getting stuff, and that's what we do. And that's just swear. Look, like you're getting freaking, is that $22 after buyer's premium? I mean, God, good Jesus. I mean, where else? I mean, maybe on eBay. I don't know what this car sells for on eBay, but come on. This is where I would. These unopened boxes are gamified in so many ways. I'd rather just buy Zion. I'd rather buy Zion Williamson cards than into a break, because at least Zion has, he could get his shit together.
Well, you know what you're buying.
1, 2, 3. Yeah, that's true.
You know what you're buying. You know exactly.
$20. People are being really generous today. Sabrina, something silver prism, still up above Giant and Za. But y'all don't consider WNBA. I didn't ever say that. I consider the. She's. I consider the WNBA a real sport. I consider keep buying men's NBA and keep losing money. I consider what I don't like, and this might be controversial, but we're 2 hours in. What I don't like is some person that is born male can turn himself female and then maybe can go to the WNBA. I don't like that. Okay.
Hey, full disclosure, I had season tickets to University of Pacific women's basketball for like 4 or 5 years. So I've sat through a lot of women's basketball games. If you're coaching basketball, it's a great way to learn inbounds plays, and the games plays below the rim. So it actually plays differently than college in the NBA.
I love watching women's golf, believe it or not. Like I'll watch the men's majors.
Here's a hot tip.
Okay.
Selling WNBA basketball cards. If you want to sell your WNBA basketball cards, go put them over on Check Out My Cards, because Tim, the owner of Check Out My Cards, is a huge WNBA fan.
Okay.
And full disclosure, I've sold 3 or 4 WNBA cards to him at very much higher prices than I had paid for them. So if you have some WNBA cards, I'm literally being dead honest. If you go put them on Check Out My Cards and they're semi-decent, the owner of the site might actually buy them because he's a huge WNBA fan. So that's
the only thing I don't consider real is somebody that's born biological male and for some reason all of a sudden identifies as female and then wants to play a female sport. I take great issue with that. I think that's bull crap. And I think that needs to stop ASAP. If they want to carve out their own little thing in their own little sport, by all means, have I was born this, I changed to this, and I'm doing track and field. I might even watch that. Okay. But I don't want to watch biological females compete against born males or whatever you want to call it these days. I have a big freaking problem with that. Okay. And so
same.
Yeah. And I'm sick of this shit. Okay. But no, I think the WNBA, I think what they've done marketing wise, I think what they've done with the teams, I think what they have as a product, I think it's actually a really good product. Is it ever going to be as good as the NBA or big as the NBA from a big in air quotes? No, it's not. Okay. But it's okay. It's okay. Is the LPGA ever going to be as big as the PGA? No, it's probably not. But it doesn't mean that it's not a great product and it's not worth watching and that it's not that it's not worth collecting, certainly as sports cards. So no, I am in, and look, I mean, would I rather collect pictures of women or pictures of men? Okay. Come on. I mean, you can flip back to that job photo. Like, do you want to flip back to the
Oh,
jaw?
the jaw, the
No,
jaw.
not that jaw. Not jaw. Do you want to collect pictures of men or pictures of women? Okay,
Pictures
like,
of men or pictures of women?
pictures of men or pictures of men. So,
Both
hey,
at the
here-
same time.
Yeah, there's a bunch of pictures of men here on the ground here that these women are collecting down here. I tell you what. I want to collect pictures of dead men on this money right here. I know that for a fact.
no, but look, SP123, thank you for the 123. I totally consider women's sports, biological women's sports, absolutely. And then I don't know why this is controversial these days. Honestly, I don't know why it's controversial, but I consider a biological women's sports absolutely entertaining, absolutely something I watch, absolutely something I consume. And if I was deeper into collecting things, of like, God, I mean, the first crush I ever had was Anna Kournikova. So I love, like, yeah. Justin D's $4.99. Just wanted to say that I cried laughing every time you put dip soundbite into your videos. Also, go Cubs, go. I haven't caught up with the Cubs. I don't know how they're doing this year, but yeah, I've been watching the videos, and just as a third party, obviously you haven't seen me on the channel in a while other than these lives, obviously. But yeah, I've been watching the videos. I think that the content is continued to escalate, in my opinion. Kelly collects 83, coming in with a $5. Think Fanatics will set rules on cards being broke in the future? Oh, hi guys. Hi, Kelly. How you doing? Great to see you. Hopefully you're doing well. I know that some of the drama in the hobby, look, it can be a lot, and it can be a lot, but I'm glad to see that you're still here. Glad to see that the hobby's still treating you good, and don't let the haters and let the noise motivate you, is what I would say to you. But do I think Fanatics will set rules on cards being broken in the future? I think they have to. I think they'll have to. I think that what we're seeing with eBay is just the beginning. I think they'll have to set rules going forward. And I think they kind of did, right? We talked about it last week, where you have to, if you're going to break these spots, they have to be like somebody in the shop or something, which seems like really random, which sounded like only a lawyer wrote that. You know what I mean? Like that sounded like somebody that doesn't collect cards wrote that. You know what I mean? And so, no, I think they're going to have to do this. The company's going to go public at some point. If the markets stay where they're at or go higher, they're going to go public. That's almost a guarantee. And there's going to be more pressure to legitimize this, I guess. So Kelly, thank you for tuning in. Appreciate your contributions. And I hope the community is treating you well. Women's volleyball.
Oh yeah, baby.
Is a sport to watch. I God, we're 2 hours in. Yeah, women's volleyball. Yeah, I mean, we were in San Diego. What was this, a couple weeks ago? Oh, I mean, this is
gymnastics.
This is gymnastics. But this is, I mean, come on.
Same thing.
Not really the same thing, but I mean, come on. Do you want a picture of her on a card, or? I mean, come on. This is, stop. Jesus Christ. God. I mean, baby Gronk. Oh God, you're telling me about baby Gronk.
I guess our
One
boy
year
Rob Gronkowski weighed in today. Said he might have to pursue legal action because baby Gronk's dad has hit him up 500 times. Yeah, I guess baby Gronk's dad has hit him up 500 times.
God, I love this.
So
I mean,
a lot of drama in the the influencer and the content world. Very much like sports cards. So
I mean, I haven't looked at baby Gronk yet, but I haven't taken my eyes off. Let's just say I haven't been able to take my eyes off of what's standing next to Baby Gronk.
You're trying to riz up Livy Dunn right now.
I mean, what I would do to Lizzie Dunn is a long wouldn't take very long to
be 20 million. It'd be 20 million, whatever you do. It'd be a lawsuit in 20 million.
It'd be about 20 seconds, but we had fun tonight. 2 hours in. Probably should start winding things down.
But yeah, before we get before our legally we can't be on YouTube anymore.
Yeah, well, she's in college, right? I mean,
that's true. Yeah.
Okay. She's in college, so it's fine. No, I mean, she's spectacular. I think she's great. I've seen her on YouTube. She's great. I think she's great. And I'm glad
I'm disappointed in myself that I never heard about her until the Baby Gronk thing last week.
Really? Oh my God. No, I mean, I heard about her a long time ago. And I'm glad that the look, I live out here in California. Do I take issue with Gavin Newsom on some things? Sure. Probably. Yes. Okay. Yes. Period. But one of the things that he did was he started this whole NIL athletes getting paid. He actually set the precedent that if you were out here in California and you went to a California school, you were allowed to get paid. That forced the NCAA's hand, because then everybody would just go to school out here in California and get paid. He forced the hand of the NCAA and allows a girl like this to get paid millions of dollars, which I think that's
an interesting thing to tie back into the sports card. If North Dakota did something about group ranking, you could just geo-track and not accept any sales from North Dakota, right? If there was some kind of state legislation about how you could sell box breaks. But if California came in and legislated box breaks, that would literally change everything.
No problem.
It wouldn't have to be on the national level.
There's like New York State, Florida,
Texas
is a state, Texas is a state, and California. Those are the four states. And look, I'm not disrespecting any other state.
It's not disrespect.
Like, I can make an argument to live in all 50 states here in California or in the United States. Okay. Make an argument for all 50. Okay. But from an economic standpoint, there's really only 4 that have legitimate weight. And yeah, if those 4 take issue, have fun with that. But you could carve out Wisconsin or whoever takes issues with it. Yeah, you could take issue with that. Ryan, Leaf has a card of LSU gymnastics star.
I have my own card right here.
Ryan has his own Topps trading card.
I have my own. People, you're just jealous that Jeff has his own card. Where's Jeff's card? Guys, I have a freaking card that has my name on it from 2013.
Yeah. So
been in the hobby a long time. I need to get the Leaf Livy Dunn card. I mean,
please.
There it is.
There it is. Oh my God. What I would pay for that card.
Oh, we can't see how many sold.
That's too bad. Well, I'm sure we can call Brian and maybe get. I mean, could you imagine those leggings as an embedded in a card? I mean, come on.
Yeah, you really get.
Come on. Oh Lord.
How am I missing these? I literally didn't know who this chick was until I heard the Baby Gronk stuff.
How did you not?
Yeah, a freaking card. She's got a card, and I didn't even know.
You don't watch enough YouTube.
I need to. Something's wrong. My algorithm's messed up.
The Goodwin Champs or whatever it is, the Upper Deck product has cards like that.
Oh, she has one too?
They print like surfers and other hot chicks. Yeah.
We need a B-side Alan Ginter auto. That would be great. definitely pay for that. 119, dude. Like I actually like the hobby we're in now. 119 for a hobby box 2022. I mean, I don't know what you get in this, but 119 is not, it's not what we've seen in the past. Folks, 2 hours in, Livy done. God. Love this hobby. Love the trading card industry. I think it's going. I know we talk about a lot of crap here on the show, but I actually think it's going in the right. I actually think it's going in the right directions. Okay, like believe it or not, like I actually think eBay cracking down is the right direction we need to go in. I think Fanatics going public, more scrutiny. That's the direction the hobby needs to go. Because look, where have we been over the past 10 years that we've been covering, 15 years we've been covering this hobby? It's like a bubble, like bubbles come and then it bottoms out and we're back to kind of where we were. I think for the hobby to progress, you actually need to kind of clean up a lot of this stuff. Clean. So like I think we should clean up a lot of this stuff, and we should, look. I actually think we're moving in the right direction. And it might be ugly. It might not be pretty. You can flip back to Olivia Dunn when I say pretty.
Oh, my bad. Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Might not be pretty. But I actually think we're going in the right direction. Honestly, I think we might be going in the right direction. Ryan, some closing words for the faithful that stuck around this long.
I'm a little busy. I'm trying to slide into this girl's DMs right now. So yeah. So,
you and everybody else. God damn.
I'm trying to get a loan from Leighton so that I could then slide into Olivia's DMs and then see if we can get, a marketing deal or something done and get her over to the house. It says Ron just changed his Facebook name.
Really?
Yes.
I'm guilty.
He just changed the Facebook name to
God.
Sports Card Scammers Exposed, recommended by Sports Card Radio. Private group on Facebook has 4,500 members.
There you
so
go.
Ron, you'll be hearing from our legal team by the end of the show.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so they're on their way. Ron just changes. Yeah, we're gonna get to Olivia first, and then we'll get to you. We got more important things. Jesus. Yeah, more important things. No, and look, I think that's where we're at with this hobby. I actually think we're going in the right direction. Believe it or not, I actually think we're going in the right direction, and so I'm excited. Like honestly, wouldn't really come on here anymore at this point in my career, this point in my life with the sports card hobby. I wouldn't come on here if I wasn't legitimately excited about the direction that we're going in with sports cards. So
after you saw this Livy Dunn card, boy, your attitude about sports cards is shot right up, baby. You're just like, oh wow, yeah, this business has got some teeth to it here. Got some real meatiness.
Yeah, we're moving we're moving up. That's for sure. Up. So yeah, no, but all seriousness, I think we're moving in the right direction. We're finally starting to clean out some of this stuff that's been going on. Yeah, I'm excited. Yeah, next week we'll try to have we'll maybe bring a guest on. Olivia Dunn would probably set some records. If we reach out to her and like somebody asks a question like who's denied you or whatever, I mean, if we reach out to Olivia and she denies us, I mean, that might be a step, that's not the worst thing in the world. At least we shot our shot. We had, what's her name? Candace on and that was cool. There's, Olivia might be a little high on the list. Should we reach out to Baby Gronk and bring him on? I mean, maybe Baby Gronk.
He gets his own card, yeah, and then we can bring Baby Gronk on.
Okay.
His dad.
He's in 4th grade. He looks great. I mean,
I'm telling you, guys, crushing it.
I think he's great. I haven't seen what he looks like yet, but I mean, I think he's great. So yeah, no, thanks for tuning in, everybody. Super producer Tim in the background. Appreciate your work on today's show. Yeah, have a safe weekend, holiday weekend. Hopefully you guys get Monday off. If you don't, hopefully you get Monday or Tuesday off, and you have a great weekend.
One thing I did want to do just before we go, I want to be the first person ever to trim my own card on camera. So I just want to do that right now. There, just so everybody can see that I trimmed my own card on camera. There's a little piece. Shout out Blow Up Forums. There, shed a little tear. So I just wanted to become the first sports card influencer.
What's his name? What's the guy's name?
Trim his own card on camera.
God, what's the trimmer's name? What's the guy's name that we've talked
Gary
about?
Moser?
The football player? No, the football player.
Evan Mathis.
That's right. I've talked to him on Twitter and stuff. Yeah. I mean, should we get him on the show? I mean,
I have his phone number.
You have his phone number? Okay.
Somebody sent me his phone number.
Yeah, maybe at some point we'll see what he wants to do. Maybe he wants to come on. Yeah, we'll see next week. I think if Dan the Card Man wants to come on, let's bring him on. And we'll have a little chat. And if Olivia wants to come on, she can come over. Do it live. Do it live.
Do it live, baby.
Yeah, if she wants to come over, we might not have a live that night.
I'll be busy. I'll be busy.
We'll be busy. Thank you all for tuning in tonight. We've degenerated as we always do. Ryan's trimming his own card. And
I'm just making it a PSA 10.
There you go.
Well, how have I done? Nice. Have I done okay?
It looks good. It looks good.
It looks good. Good enough. Might end up in an altered slab. I don't know if how it's a little rounded there at the end. So yeah, that we tried. We at least tried.
Still a nice card. Still
nice
look.
Card.
Still that's a nice card. Still a nice card. Not your card, but Olivia's and Ted Williams.
Olivia's card.
Yeah. Thank you for tuning in, everybody. We'll see you again next week, next Thursday. Have a wonderful holiday weekend for most people. Be safe. Pop some fireworks. Well, yes. We'll see you again next week. But for now, we are out of here.
B-side on the beat.
What's going on with that PPP? You done a lot of talking, not a lot to see. Up in the millions like 2.3, but Jeff got it all, getting off scot-free. Try to talk tips like we talking about stocks, but you're talking about men printed on called stock. When you open your mouth, I take it with a grain of salt, cause the market's down and you're a clown, it's all your fault. You ruin the hobby I love with your bullshit. Jeff Wilson. You ruin the hobby I love with your bullshit. Jeff Wilson. Did you dip, Jeff? I think you dipped, Jeff. What you talking about? I don't think you dipped yet. Willie's doing shady shit like the GOBs, like his whole failed thing with them NFTs, taking money from the people to pay. Most of them are broke, but that's okay. He's getting money. Even better, tax-free. Loving all the stimulus from PPP. You ruin the hobby I love with your bullshit. Jeff Wilson. You ruin the hobby I love with your bullshit. Jeff Wilson. You ruin the hobby I love with your bullshit. Jeff Wilson. You ruin the hobby I love with your bullshit. going on with that PPP? You done a lot of talking, not a lot to see. Up in the millions like 2.3, but Jeff got it all, getting off scot-free. Try to talk tips like we talking about stock, but you're talking about men printed on called stock. When you open your mouth, I take it with a grain of salt, cause the market's down and you're a clown, it's all your fault. You ruin the hobby I love with your bullshit. Jeff Wilson, Jeff Wilson. You ruin the hobby I love with your bullshit. Jeff Wilson, Jeff Wilson. Did you dip, Jeff? I think you dipped, Jeff. What you talking about? I don't think you dipped yet. Willie's doing shady shit like the GOBs, like his whole failed thing with them NFTs, taking money from the people to pay. Most of them are broke, but that's okay, he's getting money. Even better, tax-free, loving all the stimulus from PPP. You ruin the hobby I love with your bullshit. Jeff Wilson, Jeff Wilson. You ruin the hobby I love with your bullshit. Jeff Wilson, Jeff Wilson. You ruin the hobby I love with your bullshit. Jeff Wilson, Jeff Wilson. You ruin the hobby I love with your bullshit.